Giving you advance warning, Tristan. I'm gonna puke on you.
Can you press it? Did you say something in midair?
Away from Tristan a little.
Yeah. As at this point you hear as you hear the back of a bow being knocked against a violin, you hear a good evening, everyone. And welcome to tonight's performance. I will be your host for the evening. I am the Bard in Black. And before I begin, I must ask, as is customary, is there a challenge among you?
I throw my elbow as hard as I can into Tristan's ribs. I am trying to make him go, eh.
The worst thing was, she's probably on the side of me when I'm starting to raise the arm, so it's straight to the ribs.
You see her, oh. The bow is pointed towards you, Tristan.
I tried to catch my breath because I'm probably winded.
And you see there's a sort of very faint in the very edges of the bard's sort of emotion currently. You just see this slight hint of just frustration, the fact that someone has actually challenged him. Come, take to the stage with me. Challenge me.
Okay, then. I'll straighten up. I do leave my hat on the table because we're inside. And yeah, I'll prepare my violin and stand up next to him.
Okay. Are you aware of the Bard's challenge?
I am not. I am self-taught and therefore have yet to learn the ropes.
We shall weave a song from creation, which will allow our music to affect us the way that a blade would affect a great beast. And with the beauty of our performance, we shall find who is the strongest between us. Now, and you see, as he goes to speak, the rest of you, you just hear this beautiful, harmonious melody, this soft canto that just echoes throughout the tavern, that comes from the lips of this bard. To you, Tristan, you hear the verbal form of sheet music, and it implants itself in your head. And you know exactly what to play.
I'm going to put my fingers in my ears because I'm a paranoid little shit.
You put your fingers in your ears and the sound does not dampen at all.
No.
Shall we begin, Challenger?
We shall.
And he puts his head on the bow. And he just raises, ready to perform. Waiting for you to meet.
Yeah, I'm trying to match them as perfectly as possible.
And I would like you to roll a performance check.
Performance. Okay, that's gonna be a 27. I could have only done one better.
21 here. So, as he begins to play, you begin to play the same, and this melody not so much echoes out, but washes over like a tide, trickling around the feet of the entirety of this bar. And as it does so, the sound seems to turn into this slight blue mist which wafts up between all of the seats, and immediately it snuffs out all of the candles, replacing it with this slight ambient light. Around both of you now, the stage seems to twist and contort as the wood rearranges itself, expanding larger and larger as the interior of this tavern seems to slide outwards until the stage you were on, as opposed to being a small corner stage, is now a great round disc, the edge of which is a single rune on each individual corner. And in the center, both of you stand there now playing the same tune one another. And you stop. And you know, bless you, that the challenge has begun. As you roll the higher performance check, you go first. How this functions is you can attack, you can cast spells. Your spells function as normal, but your attacks aren't with your weapon, they are with your music. And instead of rolling dexterity or strength, you roll as if you are rolling a performance check. Because you won the performance roll, you have a D8 as your damage dice for your music. You can try and crescendo to increase your damage dice if you wish.
Well, we need to build it first before we can do that.
Pianissimo in order to heal yourself as well for a D4.
Okay, in that case, I'm just going to go for an attack. So it's performance check.
Yes. You can earn bonuses for the way that you describe things as well.
Okay. So that's going to be not as good, a 19 on performance.
Okay. Don't know why I'm rolling here. So, as you begin to play, you see that your music comes out beautifully and it seems to capture the hearts of part of the crowd. And as you do, you see the bard seems to jolt so much at this and begins playing in return towards you. And does not succeed with an 11. And as he does, you hear slightly discordant for a moment as it twitches the edge of it. You hear a ding. And the bard looks down in frustration. Some of the audience just seems to not be so much enthralled by this. Is there anything anyone else would like to do while this is going on?
Seems kind of rude to interrupt.
Yeah.
From
But I purposely, when the other bard is playing, I'm looking off and not looking interested. When Tristan's playing, I'm like,
which is probably more off-putting to me than anything else.
It's wide-eyed gun, just like.
So when do I roll the D8?
Roll it now.
Right. So 4 on the dice.
Okay.
Am I adding anything else to it, or is it literally just the dice?
Just the dice.
Okay.
Basically, it's like number of crowd.
Right. Okay. And yeah, so what I'd like to do is sort of to throw it back, because we've only just begun, and he's kind of had a little bum note. What I'd like to do is because I'm a bard, I'm hoping that you'll allow me to do this, try and create a shepherd tone, which is 3 tones all progressively building at the same time, from low frequency, mid to high frequency.
Okay.
And you can only hear 2 at a time.
Okay.
And they never actually rise in the level. It just makes you think that it's permanently building and building and building, because when you cease to hear one, the next one takes it over. And it
Okay.
takes over.
Because of that, roll an additional 2d4 for the 2 extra turns.
A 3 and a 4.
Okay. So as you play and you expertly weave these 3 different tones between each other, you see the bard sort of circles around you, bow to the side, and as he does, he brings it up once again and begins playing incredibly quickly, plucking the strings as he does. Will actually match your bardic AC this time. And as you see now, that gets faster and faster and faster, and you can hear the speed. This is not human speed at which the tone is being played here, and as it gets higher and higher and higher and faster and faster and faster, the bard seems to move closer and closer and closer towards you, and as he finishes the final note, you see a good portion of the crowd is instantaneously just like, oh, yes, what's going on here? And that is 5 he rolled there. And your next roll, because of Gun's encouragement, is with disadvantage.
I appreciate that. So what, I took 5 damage on that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So don't worry, I'm writing these down.
Yeah. Okay then. Yeah, with this round, I'd like to actually cast Fairy Fire around us as
Okay.
we're playing, just to sort of add a bit more atmosphere to the room. And it's going to be a slightly deeper purple than what I'm used to sort of go along with their black that they're wearing as well, just to sort of...
Yeah.
So it
right.
works as an ensemble, not just for me.
And fails the dexterity saving throw on that. So as this appears into the air all around you, you see the bard looks around. There's this slight moment of wonder in his eyes. And as he brings down to retort, he too casts a spell, bringing the bow across in one sharp motion. You see, as all around you now, trees begin to form and shape themselves. And suddenly you are playing amidst a beautiful forest grove, standing stones around you, trees all above you, birds chirp in time with the music as you hear now a drum sounds off in the distance. You hear a flute softly play, and you now suddenly have accompaniments. And he takes his second go. And once again, you see the pressure is getting to him, and he catches the bow slightly, knocking it off his pinky finger, and just, it's your go.
Okay. I'd like to sort of use this time to move around the stage. And is this after he's just cast that spell to make the trees?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to sort of use that moment to circle past him. So sort of turn my back around and then emerge on the other side. But I've disguised self as him, but a slightly more laid back version. So like the hat's not on, it's more open chest. It's a more relaxed version of himself. And the same piece that we've been playing, I'd like to sort of make it a bit more jazzy.
Okay.
Sort of change the genre slightly, but keep it with the same actual music that we're using, but just the way that I'm playing it.
All right, go for it.
It's going to be a 22.
Okay, that will work. And as you have changed genres, you're going up to a D10 on your dice now.
Where's my D10s? There's a D10. That took me far longer than it should have been. So am I allowed to do that now? Or
Yeah.
it's going to be a 6 for damage.
Okay, so as you play this, the bard looks back at you, and noticing as you change the genre, he places the back wooden part of the bow on the violin and just stops. And around you, everything, the backing music and everything stops. And he begins to play a dirge, low and long. You hear as it returns back to you, and as it echoes throughout the hall, this single violin, you see as the bard's form begins to shift and change, growing taller and taller as a black robe falls across, the bow replaced with what looks to be a bone, the violin of bone. As he goes back and forwards now, you see as the smoke turns from blue to black as it shifts out. And this figure, this great reaper-like figure, circles you once more. He hits you, and for 7. Ooh. So you've taken 12 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And as you continues to play this dirge, how do you answer?
Ooh, that would be really cheeky. Oh, that would be really cheeky. I'm going to cast Deafness on him.
Okay. What type of saving throw is that?
It's a con to meet a 16.
Oh, it's a con. That's a 2.
So the bard is now deaf.
And as this happens, you hear it slips completely. You hear bling, and the illusion drops. And the bard just looks around. One hand comes up to the ear. How do you want to do this?
Because he went with a dir, so I'm going to go with a lament.
Okay.
And slowly release the spell on him as the lament is playing. So it's sort of a bittersweet moment where he's very aware that this is now over. And I'm just sort of playing him back into the room, letting him come back.
I would like the rest of the party to make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Surely that can't be right. I've rolled in the double digits.
Well, I did not.
It's
I did not. 3.
a 14.
What did you get, Ronan?
Natural 20 plus the 24.
Okay.
Going up now.
So as this lament comes in now, you see as the music takes on a life of its own, and in front of you, you see no longer Tristan. You see no longer the bard. You see a group of ghostly figures, and they stand around a sarcophagus, a great stone area. And as they look into it, this lament plays over the top, and you see emerging from the corner of this room that has appeared now, you see Tristan, head low, playing out this lament. As the figures, one by one, turn and leave from this sarcophagus, their ghostly forms evaporating into mist as they walk through the audience. Each of you but Ronan is immediately filled with this sense of sadness. This supernatural force has overtaken you as the music just worms its way into you, and you are feeling completely entrapped by it. As the entire illusion around you fades, and you see now the bard in black on his knees, looking up at Tristan, whose bow graces the violin one last time. And the rest of the crowd erupts into cheers, and everyone gets on their feet, a standing ovation. You hear whistles, you hear clapping, as the bard looks up to you, Tristan. Well played. And takes off his cloak. And you see now underneath the cloak is a great tattoo, this spiraling scroll-like substance that makes its way down the arm, filled with music. And he reaches out with that arm towards you to take your hand.
I take it, and as I take it, I drop my disguised self, so I do look like myself again.
And as this happens, you see the scroll begins taking its way from the bard's arm and up into your arm. Your mantle turns black. The feather in your hat, you see it over on the table now, turns black. You are now the bard in black. And as the tattoo worms its way up your arm, you feel a slight tingling in yours. And as you pull your sleeve up slightly, you see now the tattoo graces your arm.
Okay. What does that entail?
You will learn in time.
Because I really like purple.
Then find the bard in purple and take their mantle.
I see.
Others will come for you. The other bards of colors, challengers, devils, demons, and angels will come to hear your song and to take it from you, as you have taken mine. Know this, winning a challenge means more but losing means you are a bard no longer. You must begin each of your performances by asking if there is a challenge. And you are, by the world song, forced to take one if someone says yes.
I wasn't aware. And
Such
that
is the
just
nature of the world song.
that just makes the the choice of a lament all that more bittersweet. I'm sorry. I wish I'd have.
He stands up, he turns to the crowd, dusts himself off slightly. I would like to thank you all for joining us here tonight. I'm also announcing my retirement. Thank you all for being here for my last show. He takes his hat off, the crowd just claps him. And to our new bard in black, wish him the best of luck. He'll need it. Mr. Bard packs away their violin, closes up the latches, and walks out of the tavern. The chairs and the people parting their way to let them go through. That's where we're going to take a quick break, everyone.